Hey, the title screen looks a little bit different. Yep, I'm running the first patch of the game, which is currently in beta. The Elemental Update. So called because it actually makes elemental mechanics that were kind of in the game previously actually work. There was one weapon I don't think I went over too much, I'm not even sure if I showed it off in any of the runs that I've recorded, which is supposed to oil up enemies so that they take extra damage from fire or something like that, and it just straight up didn't work. That, among many things, is what is fixed in this patch. Another major change they've made is making it so that simply having a shield equipped makes it so that if you get attacked multiple times in a row, you actually have iframes. That is, immediately after being attacked once, you'll have a bit of invincibility with which to escape. So that way you can't be chain stunned to death as badly, and considering that's been the cause of a few of my deaths, maybe I'll try out shielding a bit more. They've also updated how the blocking works so that you can actually block multiple attacks in a row, which previously you couldn't. That would explain why I had trouble blocking in the past against crowds. They made a number of other changes as well, such as changing like minor things to how climbing and jumping off of ledges works, which I'm excited to hear about because another major cause of my death was often like getting caught up in a ledge and getting hit by an exploding bat or something. So we'll see if that helps me. And then finally, they also decided to add some extra content in the form of, I think, 2 new enemies and some new items as well. We'll see if I actually get to see any of that this run, who knows. Oh, that's right. I was actually in the midway of a previous run, I think. Let me actually just continue this one and see where I was. It might just be at the start, actually. Yeah, okay, it was. Oh, hey, and immediately I get some achievements. That's another thing that they added with this update is actual Steam achievements, which previously did not exist. I don't really care all that much, but I'll be playing this game enough that I'll probably try and go for all of them. And hey, this dude finally has the stats. He actually looks different than he did before. I guess the scrolls he now has is actually what contains this information. Stats are... wow, I'm picking up a lot of achievements, probably because like I already automatically unlock them. They're based on upgrades and stuff. And so they're just kind of all triggering at once. But yeah, stats aren't exactly accurate considering they were only just added. Alas. Oh. Now that's an interesting change. What is this door at the beginning? Huh. Maybe I'll need to unlock something later if I want to open that up. Ooh, lucky first drop with this magnetic grenade. That is a fantastic skill to have. For reasons you should very well understand if you've been watching these videos. I mean, honestly, I've kind of said my piece about this game in its entirety by now, so unless I come across something new, which I just have, I'm not gonna have much to talk about. So yeah, this is the weapon. And did they like specifically cause that to spawn here? Is that like a thing they chose, or is that just fortuitous timing? But yeah, the oiled sword, it applies flammable oil to victims. Previously this did nothing, but now if I can acquire some source of burning damage, presumably it should. Given that it also has a damage bonus against burning victims, this seems like a very good weapon to have picked up. Moveset wise, it's like pretty much all the other swords. Alright, hopefully I'll gain the ability to apply burning fairly soon then. Would hate to not be able to play around... oh wow, did they change how the vines look? I feel like they look different than they used to. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, it would be rather unfortunate if I couldn't actually play around with this new weapon. Or old weapon that is now actually working. So in some regard, it's kind of new. Oh hey! More food items it looks like. Previously it was just carrots and meat. But now we get a fancy-ass kebab. Love kebabs. They're just little bites of deliciousness. And there's so much variety possible as well. You can have meat, you can have veggies, you can have other things. Don't ask me what those other things would be. It's not a dirty thing, it's just the fact that I have legitimately no idea. Damage-wise, I mean, it's probably because of the fact that it's a +2 thing, and the enemies still are fairly weak, but just the basic damage of this flammable sword ain't bad. I'm sure it scales up poorly like most other weapons, though. Now, if only I can acquire a source of burning, I'll actually be able to test out its special property. Come on, game. Throw me a bone, or a burning pot of oil, I guess. Let's see. I don't know, I always like going whole hog in skills, but maybe I should try upping strength again. After all, I found out previously that using your skills as a setup to rush in and then attack with your weapons is a way of making melee-focused combat more viable. Sure, why not? I hate these shield dudes so much. It's just, they're not a particularly threatening enemy, they're more annoying than anything. I don't think I've ever actually gotten killed by one, or had one be a major contributor to a death I've had. I could be entirely wrong about that, my memory is by no means perfect. But that's the impression I have. Instead, they're just kind of like more annoying to deal with, like a lot of times they'll turn around just after you start to make your attack, and so you have to roll behind them again, and it's just a time tax more than anything. That's right, another one of the changes they made was adding multiple types of merchants who sell different sorts of gear. This one is, I guess, maybe a generalist, because I think there are specifically merchants for selling weapons, skills, and other things. Let's see. Well, if I'm going to be going with melee strikes... Wait a minute. Oh, they changed damage buffer. It's the same icon, so I'm assuming they just replaced that with this new item, Corrupted Power. So now I gain a damage bonus, which is given as a percentage rather than a flat addition. It must have been the flat addition and whatever math is behind the scenes that caused it to be so OP before, which is why I assume they changed it. But additionally, you also take extra damage, so it's a bit of a risk. On the plus side, it now seems to have extra random generated abilities with it, which previously I don't think it did. Let me try it out. It is something new after all, technically speaking. I could purchase more stuff, but not super interested. I'll save my gold. Yeah, if possible, I think I'll Oh, it's the warrior again. He's dead. Who's speaking to me? Yeah, what's up? Oh, wait, is my character speaking? Huh. And a free blueprint. Broadsword. I guess that was his weapon. So is that just a guaranteed blueprint that they now give to you? I'm assuming that's a purely scripted encounter. Something you can't possibly miss, although maybe it's a randomly generated thing that you just have to happen across. Alright, I've explored everything here except... At one point I actually came across a rune in the floor that would take me to a secret area, but I forgot to activate it at the time. Trouble is, I've actually forgotten the location of that rune, so... Let me just travel back through pretty much the entirety of the stage, really, and see if I can't find that. I wonder if one of the things they've changed, given how much I've complained about it and how much others have as well, is if they've made Hourglass rooms more viable, more worth going for. I did read the patch notes, but not especially thoroughly. I kind of just skimmed over them for the most part. Oh, there it is. Alright, try out the secret area. Maybe they changed these as well, who knows? Well, if they did, I don't have the luck to see it here. Same old challenge condition. Alright, let's just take it slow and steady. They give you plenty of times for these things, so I'm not really worried about not making it. Due to running out of time, at least. It doesn't matter if I take more damage, considering I can't get hit in the first place. Oh, this is a nasty situation to be in. I'm gonna get hit. What do you know? I predicted it. I'm magic. I hate those shield guys so much. I don't know why they attack so quickly. Like, I don't know, that just seems an odd thing for them to do. I feel like their attack speed should be a bit slower, but it's just me. Where am I on the map? I'm trying to... Is that my location right there? Yeah. I feel like they changed that icon, so... I really shouldn't venture into the ossuary unless I'm pretty well equipped. The promenade is just kind of a joke, so let's try out the sewer path. It's been a bit since I've done that. It's sort of like the mid-difficulty one, I guess you could say. Promenade's easy, ossuary is hard. Sewer's medium, middle of the road. A pleasant summer's day walk. I think they're also... the sewer levels, or at least this one, is longer than the promenade, which means I'm more likely to encounter items, which I do need. Both gear upgrades and stat upgrades. Oh, this is nice. They've changed the organization of this screen to have it be based partially on like what type of item they are, you know, permanent upgrades, weapons, skills, etc. But then within that to also be based on like how much you've upgraded it, so that the stuff that you haven't unlocked at all is right at the top. That's convenient. So the broadsword does massive damage. I'm guessing it has to be slow. Either way, I'm super interested in trying that out. Now, if only I could actually come across a source of burning damage so I could actually try out the weapon I currently have. That would be nice, game. Just saying. Like, seriously, just give me a fire grenade so I can test this out. I don't care if it's good or not, I just want to see. I don't want to have that wait for another run. And yeah, just the base damage of this oiled sword is actually holding up pretty well. Better than I expected. I thought I would have been doing garbage damage by this point, the start of the second stage, but nope. So that's a good sign. I love pointless rooms. They are the best feature of procedural generation. And by best, I mean worst, in case you couldn't tell. One thing I wouldn't mind them adding at some point, it's not like a major thing, so I wouldn't expect them to focus on it, but definitely something they need to implement before the full release, is scaling difficulty of some sort with the earlier stages, because as of right now, everything but the ossuary is kind of a complete joke. Both the sewer path and the promenade path aren't really difficult at all, and even the ramparts is probably a bit easier than the ossuary, despite it being a third tier stage and the ossuary being a second tier. And that results in the game being kind of just completely easy for the first, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, until you actually get to like the first boss and the stages beyond where things suddenly ramp up. And it creates a very uneven difficulty curve, which isn't really satisfying. Ooh, now that looks like it might cause burning. I haven't seen that icon before. It couldn't possibly be a new item, given the fact that I haven't unlocked any thus far. Unless it's like the corroded, what's it called now? Corrupted power. and that they made alterations to a previously existing item. Okay, no, this is just a new thing. Ignites the ground and your enemies, inflicting 33 damage a second for 3 seconds. So does it actually cause burning or what? Alright, it is actually a weapon. Well, might as well replace the infinite ammo bow. Oh, you know what this is? This is the, basically the torch weapon from the Ghouls and Ghosts / Ghosts and Goblins series. That's cool. Okay, it does cause burning. So I would want to do oil and then burning to properly do this. Alright, let me try it on something that's a little bit stronger. It's hard to tell exactly what it's doing since they're dying so quickly. The grub should be a good test. Well, I never thought of burning damage as being all that strong before, so maybe oil is just a buff for burning damage, making it stronger? That makes sense. If that's the case, I wonder if you just need them both applied at the same time, so that way you could apply oil and then burning, or burning and then oil and get the same amount of benefit from it. Or if you have to do oil then burning. Well, these are things to figure out as I continue to play. I gotta say, if they continue releasing patches like these every month or even every other month, and they contain this amount of changes, good god, is the full game gonna be a vastly different beast than the initial release. Which is how early access should be, honestly. You should have a mostly complete product when you release it, but there should be enough stuff left for you to do that the finished product does end up coming off as fairly different. Darkest Dungeon did a good job of that, and it's one reason among many why I consider it an early access success. I've tried out the Spiteful Sword before, but I don't really like it. If I recall, when I tested it, it seemed like you only get one critical blow with it, rather than just having a period of time after taking damage, where all your attacks are critical blows, so it's honestly not that useful. It's okay with the rally as a result, but damage-wise, I wasn't impressed. Okay, this is also new, so yeah, they just included a bunch of new weapons, just right from the get-go. Stuns victims that have more than 75% DV. I'm guessing that means health, like I know enough about language in general to know that something just being V probably means health, cause you know, Latin and all. So, that's a guaranteed stun against anything you've not damaged before. This could be an interesting opener for a melee-focused build. Do I get rid of my oiled sword? It combos very well with firebrands. Maybe get rid of firebrands and hope I come across some other source of burning damage as skill. I definitely want to test out the moveset. Oh, that is an incredibly satisfying moveset. It feels very tough and chunky. And it's a nice 3-hit combo. I love the special color effects it has as well. That doesn't actually, like, make it better mechanically, but it makes it more fun to use, if that makes sense. It's flashier, and I like that. It's actually fairly fast. I wonder if it can strike more than one enemy at a time. If it would actually be good at crowd control. Ooh. Let me try it out against some enemies. Yeah, I like it a lot. And obviously, the ideal way to do things would be to combo it with like a slow weapon, so then you... Okay, this is gonna turn out poorly. If I don't focus, let me just murder these guys before they murder me. Murder. Yeah, I did not handle that well at all. But basically, as far as I can tell, the ideal way of approaching things would be to stun them and then attack with some other weapon, preferably one that's slow, so that way its wind-up doesn't negatively affect it since all the enemies are stunned. Like, basically what I just did there. Shoots... Oh wait, no, that's just the regular description. I was gonna say, that's a weird random effect. Yeah. Not super interested in using that since I've used it before, and I want to stick to new items where possible. Ooh, and that's a new special effect. Releases a cloud of poison around the victim. I think I might actually swap out... Honestly, yeah, I think I'm glad I got to see just how good damage buffer was while it lasted, but I don't think I'm gonna automatically go with it like I did before just because of how it's been nerfed. I'm sure it's still good. It's just not something I'm going to go for over everything else. Why did I try to press heal? Some sort of weird muscle memory, I think. Maybe from the Surge? Actually, no, it's probably from Velda's story. I've been playing a lot of that recently. Fantastic combat-focused Metroidvania. Strongly recommend picking it up. It has a lot of quality of life issues, but overall I think what it does well. Mainly the combat in that game. I call it a combat-focused Metroidvania because it's basically all about the combat. The exploration and like platforming elements definitely play second fiddle, and the combat is a lot of fun. It's difficult to string together coherent sentences when focusing on the game. As easy as the difficulty is in the early parts, there are still some dangerous elements I have to be wary of, like the bats, for example, and the poison. Thankfully, I have the healing to undo mistakes I make. Not so later on. That's when I'll have to focus especially hard. Ah, all these kebabs. Can I get a healthy carrot? I'm trying to be on a diet here. Game trying to fatten me up, although it could be a vegan kebab. You never know. It looks like meat though. Yeah, I do like the mace, but because I don't have a weapon that combos with it especially well, I think I'd rather have the burning thing, whatever the hell it was called, since that combos very well with my flammable sword. But let's see what I get from this chest. Maybe that'll change my mind. Nope. I do want to try out shields since they've been buffed eventually, but... Ooh, it's actually a really good bonus. Freeze enemies when I parry, and attacking gives me a damage bonus. Maybe go for a sword and board style? Let's try this out on some enemies here. Hopefully I'll be able to come across a crowd, because that's kind of the true litmus test for whether or not something's good in this game, is can it carry you through a crowd? Unfortunately, I may have actually explored everywhere in this place by now, and I might not have any enemies left to fight. Screw it, let's see what's in the cursed chest. This is a risk I really shouldn't be taking, but... Alright, let's retreat back to a teleporter and see if there's anywhere I haven't explored. Oh good, there are a few sections, good. So I should be able to remove this curse then. Assuming I don't immediately die. Which I really hope I don't. Seriously, are there no enemies left at all? Did I take a curse just as I got to the end? Kind of want to go on to the ramparts, but there's enough range annoyance in that area, the wizards, the bats, that I feel like I would die immediately thanks to this curse if I went there. That is another new weapon, and it looks fancy. Balanced blade. Carefully balanced to allow consecutive rapid strikes. Releases a cloud of poison around the victim. Okay, mace. I like you, but I think I'm gonna have to trade up. Oh my, that is incredibly fast. It's just a faster version of the regular sword moveset, I think. Also, if I survive long enough to remove the curse, this damage reduction should come in handy, so why not? It's only 2k gold. Actually, I really like the bonuses on this gold shield, but screw it. I'm gonna go with 2 weapons. I'll try out shield mechanics another day. Because just from what I've read about the changes they made, on paper it's a definite buff, but not enough of a one. Again, I'll have to test them out in practice to be sure, but I'm not going to forgo using new weapons over them at the moment. Alright, I have to proceed slowly and carefully to make sure I don't die, because I'm pretty sure poison would end up killing me. Just gotta make sure I break the curse before I make any rash and hasty decisions. I'm surprised there wasn't a scorpion there to ambush me. Okay, only 6 more kills. Hopefully I can do that in whichever next stage I choose. So what should I do? Should I go on towards the toxic sewers? Or the ramparts? Oh, sorry, the old sewers. I'm currently in the toxic sewers. As the map tells me, I am here. Screw it, let's go with the ramparts. It's been a while since I've done that stage, and I'm curious if I'm actually capable of handling it again, of actually making my way through it without dying. I think if I can make it past the opening stretch, the first 6 enemies I come across, I might be able to. I'm gonna hold off on unlocking this for now. I want to play with the saber and hammer a bit more, because I feel like this is probably going to be a good weapon. Actually, if it deals massive damage, doesn't that sound like it's a slow weapon? If so, that would combo well with the hammer. That is such a difficult choice. Well, I might as well funnel some cells into some of the new items that are here. Assuming they are here. Actually, interestingly, they don't appear to be. I guess that's maybe the downside to using something like the hammer or the saber, is you can't actually upgrade its damage, its base damage, like the other weapons. Either that, or you have to find its blueprint out in the wild. It's like a weird sort of half-measure thing that they're doing at the moment for people actively playing. They changed the sprite for the frantic sword as well. I wonder if they've changed its functions at all either. Ah, boy. Okay, sure, let's try out the broadsword. I'm curious. I'm biting. And, might as well give it a minor damage upgrade as... Oh, wait! Okay. There have been many instances in the past where I've just completely failed to notice something on the UI, but I'm pretty sure that's not what happened here. These icons for these new weapons, they weren't here before, were they? They only appeared when I actually unlocked the broadsword blueprint. So I guess at the moment, their blueprints, upgrading them is tied to that one. I feel like that is probably a half measure, and it won't be like that in the full release. It's just how they're handling it for the ongoing game that they're developing and updating. So yeah, let's give that a damage upgrade. The hammer a damage upgrade. And funnel the rest into the saber. Oh, it's only level 2, so in a lot of ways it's worse than the balanced blade. I might not actually stick with this. Yep, that is a heavy-ass weapon. Interesting, because this was actually something they showed off in the trailers, but as far as I'm aware, was not actually available in the previous build at all. Maybe they had some last-minute work to do on this. Damn though, that is a satisfying and hefty moveset, and that should combo well with the hammer. I like the balanced blade though. Look at how fast that is. I gotta go with the better synergy though. Or what I assume is the better synergy. I'm actually impressed just by how much new life was breathed into the game by this patch. Just with the inclusion of a few new items, I am immediately way more interested in playing again. I was kind of, fatigued a bit, which is why I've been taking so long to actually get out videos of these. I just haven't felt like it. because my excitement for the game died down somewhat. But yeah, it got ramped up back again. Now, I gotta remember that if I open up by damaging enemies, I'm not actually going to be able to use the hammer, as they need more than 75% of their HP for that stun to work. Oh, that damage is nice though. Okay, just 2 more things dead, and I can actually play with relative safety. What's next? Okay, curse lifted, good. Now I can play with more Cavalier Panache. I like the word panache. It's not something that was a major part of my vocabulary until recently, until it was used by Mad Sweeney in the live-action American Gods. I think I mentioned that show before. I'm not sure if on this video series or another one, but goddamn is that a good show. You should absolutely watch that if you like weird dramas. Yeah, sure, let's try out the secret area. Same challenge as always. Less time, though, I think, than what they used to give you. Why didn't I just duck? I know that ducking saves me from the arrows, I'm too used to using jumping to evade things. Yeah, that and I kind of just assumed I would have managed to stun them all with the stun grenade, but nope. It didn't have quite as much range as I was thinking it did. That's what happens when I use an item that I haven't used for like, what, 15 hours? Yeah, though, that is some good synergy. Actually, hold on, let me just test this out. Okay, no. For a second there, it went so smoothly from the hammer strike to the broadsword strike that I thought it was actually doing the second hit of the broadsword combo. But no, weapons don't flow smoothly like that. It's just that the broadsword attack comes out immediately. There is no real delay between the two. Ooh, there does seem to be a bit of an input queue with this weapon. If you just spam it, you're actually going to be locked in for more than one hit. A little bit of Dark Souls in there. So I'll have to watch out for that. Oh yeah, let me see what the time limit for these Hourglass doors is. So 15 minutes ago, yep, nope. They still expect you to make it to each one within like 3 minutes. That is something that absolutely needs to be patched. Either that, or they need to include way better bonuses in the Hourglass rooms, like guaranteed stat ups, really good gear, that sort of thing. As it is, if you rush for those, you end up being way weaker than if you explored the stages thoroughly and got all the pickups. Okay, that's one downside of the hammer that I'm seeing, is if you're very close to an enemy, you won't actually hit them, presumably because you're just hitting them with the shaft and not the head. Remember, always hit people with your head. So, that is something I have to watch out for. After all, if I think I've stunned an enemy but I haven't, I could get killed. Shots pierce the first target, I understand that Knife Storm is meant to be sort of an AoE for hitting all around you, maybe stunning like a whole group of enemies if they're on you at both sides, but really, I try to play such that I have situations where I'm not surrounded. So that's kind of making up for a flaw that I try to avoid in the first place, so yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that item. You know, I'm really liking both of these new weapons. They are quite good and very fun to use. I think a large part of the fun I'm having is the fact that they are slow weapons in a game that previously only had fast ones. It did have one somewhat slow weapon in the spear, but I have yet to unlock that. I've not even come across the blueprint once. Hopefully I will. That is a weapon that is excellent for crowd control, which is really important in later stages. Let's just heal up in case I make any more mistakes. Yeah, why haven't I been using my magnetic grenade more? I just kind of forgot that I have it, and that is so useful in so many different situations. See? Right here. I wonder if this is the path that's actually going to lead to the exit, and it looks like it does. Yep.